begin. I know this is so exciting, so crazy. So we are not broadcasting this live at our usual time. Nope. We are making do because it is the actual Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League race. I mean, it's the first ever one. Yeah, the first ever autonomous car race. I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, they can race against each other now. Well, that's the thing. We'll go a little bit more into details in what's going to be happening in that race. And then, well, when it starts in about 15 minutes at the time of this live recording, I'm going to be like one of the live sports commentator. So cool. I'm really excited about this. Ooh, oh yeah. So I had no idea that this was happening. Actually, this is a big surprise to me because I've just started being more involved in the EV community, autonomous, self-driving, and all of the people out there having like new technologies in cars. So when I woke up this morning in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I saw this that was airing in about 70 minutes, I was like, okay, drink your coffee and let's get online. Let's get live. We got Sith Lord Billy who's there. Dave Frank, thank you very much for tuning in and being here. So did anybody in the live comment section actually know that there was an autonomous self-driving autonomous, invert it however you want, race? And that was a thing because I've been to Formula One. I mean, you might recall that I've actually been to the Formula One electric. In Montreal, when it was in Montreal, it was Montreal only one time only. And it was amazing. I mean, it was pretty cool. But this is completely different. We're talking about autonomous car racing and cars that look more like F1s than actual NASCAR, okay? So if you kind of think about it that way, it's the same but different. Now, I'm not yet sure if these are actual F1 cars, F2 cars, like what level they're on. I don't even know if they're electric. I have no idea. So I know that some of them are made with like super renewable and like, it's like environmental type of friendly, but I don't know. I don't even know because I've just learned about this like not even an hour ago. So I did as much research as I could and the rest we will be learning as we go. I'm Piper and this is the podcast called While You Wait for your EV to charge or for the first ever autonomous race to begin in Abu Dhabi. This race is going to happen on the Yas Marina circuit, which is an F1 approved circuit. Now, they are thinking of doing more races like that. So, from what I gathered, right now, they have this one race in Abu Dhabi. Next year, 2025, they want to have two races. So, one which would be in Europe, one in Abu Dhabi, and then one in somewhere in Asia. And they did say that it was going to be somewhere in Europe, but like, you know, one of those tracks. So one of those tracks for me is like Monaco, but we'll see if that's really where they're going to be at. I mean, definitely got some money for sure. We're talking about these type of autonomous cars. And when I say money, I say that the grand prize when you win today is $2.25 million. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that the cars cost very little to make. I think they must cost a lot to make if they're self-driving and autonomous and they can do all that against each other. I mean, this is a bit crazy, right? This is like super mega crazy. The other thing that's very interesting with this race is that usually... What? Oh, oops. For those of you who are actually watching, yeah, I'm losing my arms to my green screen. That happens. Now, the thing is, okay, so with these autonomous self-driving cars, what is crazy is that, well, they do test them usually, but they don't necessarily make them race against each other. So they test them on speed, they test them with their sensors, like the rapidity of how they can really analyze data and make a decision like super fast. So sometimes there are going to be two autonomous cars on one track, but never before has there been four. Imagine that. So there's going to be supposedly four race cars on one track. Now they need to not hit each other for sure, and they need to kind of win the race, which is really interesting. Now I have it here. If you're wondering what is being broadcasted behind me and you don't know anything about this, well, this is the first ever autonomous car race, and it is being like sponsored, I guess, made by A2RL, which is Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League. We'll talk more about that because it's going to begin in 11 minutes. Oh, yeah. Now, what they're saying on their video description on YouTube is that, well, they have the world's most advanced autonomous vehicle navigate the 5-kilometer track, tackling 16 challenging turns over 16 laps, all equipped with state-of-the-art technology. Now, what does that mean, state-of-the-art technology? I know, it's gonna be crazy. We have here Hack of All Trades who says autonomous racing. Yeah, autonomous racing, meaning like autonomous. These cars don't have drivers. Now, Dave Frank is saying, who controls the acceleration? Well, that's what's really interesting, and that's what I have no idea about. So we'll see. I think they're really autonomous, meaning they accelerate.
It's not RC.
It's not an RC car. It's supposed to be fully autonomous. They do it alone. There's not somebody with VR goggles. Exactly. There's not somebody with VR goggles controlling these cars. They're really self-sufficient cars. They drive themselves. Now, if you do want to participate in this race with your VR equipment, if you do have a VR headset, they do say A2RL. So A2RL, that's the website you need to go to, .io. They say that if you download their app, you are actually able to plug in your VR headset and, well, be in the race. So you can see what an actual driver would see. The guy that was telling this, in the YouTube video I just watched before this, he said, make sure that you sit down and make sure you don't move because you will definitely feel the G's. And that is something that I've experienced with some of the VR games and VR, well, experiences. If it's moving and you're not moving, it can get kind of weird. But if you want to experience it like live, you can actually be one of those drivers. But don't worry, you don't need to drive. They're self-driving. So that's something you can do right now or during the whole entirety of the race. This race is from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. and we're talking Abu Dhabi time, meaning that spans over like a lot of time. But they do say that they do say that the actual race is, well, starting in 8.44 minutes, and that's from their YouTube live. So we are looking at the YouTube live like approximately 1,800 other people that are there. You can see it behind me if you're there in video version. If you're there in auditory only, do not worry because on the podcast while you wait for the first autonomous car race to happen, well, I'll do a little bit of, sports and entertainment. I'm gonna be a sports commentator. So cool. Settler Billy says only one car can do wireless charging at the moment. Yeah. There's there's a few cars that can do wireless charging actually, but usually it's for a very small battery because big batteries don't really wireless charge that well, from what I know. What are the names of the cars? Okay, so like I said, go check it out. Come back in the live comment section and let's all talk about it while we're watching this race because this is all very new to me, so I'm learning with you in the live comment section. I know, it's a bit weird. Usually most commentators have been like ex-Formula 1 racers, but I'm a YouTuber. So we're gonna do this together. I have no idea about the names of the cars, but they are supposedly the most technology advanced pieces of, well, equipment in the whole entire world. Kinda, when it relates to self-driving cars. So let me tell you a little bit more about this race because I've got some cue cards. Oh yeah. If you do win the race, so your team wins the race, meaning, well, your team of mega geeks, yeah, you win $2.25 million USD. Now, there's supposed to be 4 cars competing on the track at the same time, and then there's other things happening. So I don't think it's like a 30-car race. It's not like our usual F1 that big. But still, I mean, these cars must be worth a lot of money in R&D. If you don't know what R&D is, it's research and development, people. Research and development. A2RL stands for Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League. It's their first ever, real race, but they're counting on making a lot more. And the A2 stands for, well, A square, meaning that they're sport and science mixed together. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool name. The thing is that these cars are AI powered. Yeah, they are self-driving. They're autonomous. So they need like this huge AI to do algorithms and things like that. So we're going to go a little bit into that because we still have 6 minutes to go before it starts. Now, it's the most innovative sensors on the planet because, well, they need to drive. Now, I don't know where they got them from. I don't know what the teams are like. But the guy that I was looking this interview with him, one of the guys from the track and all that, he was saying that usually if you are an expert in AI, in sensor development, in anything related to, well, self-driving cars, they're gonna try to come and get you. So they're investing a lot of money in getting these amazing experts so that they can test all of this technology on, well, driving, racing, and all of that. And then later on, take that technology and, well, put it in a public place, meaning like in your actual vehicle. So it has to start somewhere where it costs a lot of money and it's very not accessible. But I mean, after that, after this race, maybe a lot of people are going to notice self-driving cars and are not going to be as scared to use them. Because we did talk about that in the previous podcast of While You Wait, about people who fear electric vehicles or just fear, well, the self-driving or all of these capabilities. And, well, of course, you need like mega computing power. Well, if you're analyzing all of this data in real time in the car, I mean, it's certainly that you're gonna need like all the data and all the power you can get. This makes it so that these cars can actually make decisions. Ta, 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 ta. Yeah, well, they're autonomous, meaning that there's nobody that controls them except for themselves. So they need to choose what they're gonna do. So that's why it's going to be a really interesting race, because you're going to have all of these cars on the circuit who are going to make their own decision by like a data and algorithm and all that.
Did they have like a...
I have no idea if they had a practice round. Maybe they were like, no, we don't want to do that because if they hit each other, what's going to happen? Okay, I'm just teasing. Wonder how many laps the race is. It is 16 laps. 16 laps. That's how long the race is. It says 16 laps, tackling 16 challenging turns over 16 laps. So it's 16 turns over 16 laps. So 16 laps, that's it. Now, I don't know how long the race actually is. I know that they were like tweaking some things. I don't know if they had an actual like... There's a pre-event. So there's another live YouTube video that's going on right now that I did not click on because we were getting ready for this one. But that being said, I mean, it's a whole day event. You could purchase ticket and go see this live as a person. If you don't have the means or are not in Abu Dhabi right now, well, don't worry. You can participate in the race by downloading their app. And if you have a VR headset, you can kind of, I guess, pay or see. I don't know if it's free or not, but be in the place of... well, one of the actual drivers if they were somebody driving the car, which there isn't because it's autonomous. But you can still be in the driver's seat or in the passenger seat in that sense and experience it all. So yes, like I was saying, it is supposed to be 4 cars on one track, and that's the first time ever that we'll have 4 cars competing on the same exact track, which adds a lot of variables, a lot of danger for all of these people that actually put a lot of money and, well, intelligence into these cars. So they're gonna be racing against each other. Do you remember people, the actual little, the little robots that play soccer? Yeah, those little robots. Like every year there's the little robots that play soccer, and it's to see if the robots are getting better or not. So this is a bit what's happening. These are not per se robots, they're cars, but they're still AI powered. They need to make their own decisions. Now there are some people that are there, but I don't think they're supposed to assist them. Now, A2RL, Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League, is saying that in 2026, they're supposed to have 3 races like that worldwide. Now, in 2025, 2 races. Right now, there's only 1 in 2024, but we will be seeing more of them because the whole thing of A2RL, Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League, is to have, well, races of like every kind. So they're gonna be revealing the dates, I think, for their drone race. So their first autonomous drone race. Then they want to do an off-road buggy race, which is also autonomous. Everything's autonomous, people. And after that, they want to move forward towards like the sea. So it's land, sea, sky. That's what they're aiming at doing. Right now they're on land with these type of sort of Formula 1 cars, but later on they'll definitely like go somewhere else. It's pretty interesting to see companies doing that and all of the technology and advertising that goes into it, because the whole point of this, I think, is to make the bigger public, those people who are not engineers and who are not into like these rooms, well, to be there, like literally there, and see that, so that you don't fear it, and that is a possibility for you to, well, want to buy a vehicle that would be or would have more autonomous capabilities. It's supposed to start anytime now. Anytime now. So we're waiting on for it to start. Let's see what happens. I'm Piper. This is the podcast while you wait for your first ever autonomous race to start. Hello, Javier. Thank you for tuning in. We also have Hack of All Trades who says, oh, retracted his message. No problem. If you're there and you knew about this or you didn't, then no problem. But just make sure that you give us all the information that you actually have or find on this, because I feel it's very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting podcast today. And it did take me by surprise. So now it's the first ever one. Meaning, well, there needs to be a first so that we can have a second. And then, well, the public eye, I think, knows, but I didn't even know that this was happening. Meaning that it's still a bit small. It's still a bit niche within that community. I mean, even the Formula Electric is something that most people did not know about a few years back. Okay, I'm seeing like a black screen. All right, something's happening. Don't move, people, don't move. Let's see. Okay. I've got some sound here somewhere. There's supposed to be. There it is. Let me press play. Okay. So that is the actual sound of the race. Bam.
Well, if you've ever wanted to
that's
take
a real commentator
into the future, you have certainly come to the right place. Tonight,
wow, it's super dark where they are right now. So there's a woman who is actually, well, she's actually commenting. Like blonde, nice looking woman. Nice looking woman who's commenting on everything happening in the circuit. This is fun. This can be fun. It's a very expensive hobby. Yeah, certainly it's a very expensive hobby. Why did I lose my power capabilities? Bam. Give me a moment. I need to regain my power. Okay, so they were lapping around the circuit. Boom. Okay, I'm gonna pay attention in a second, people. I got all my tabs open. Piper, invite her to the show. She's cute. Definitely, that is a possibility. Okay, so I'm gonna put the volume for this.
Coders and developers from around the world will be incorporating cutting-edge technologies into racing vehicles, all with the aim of reshaping the future of mobility through extreme sports.
Extreme sports.
The A2RL racing car is based on the Dallara chassis used in the Japanese Super Formula series. It has a 4-cylinder turbocharged Honda engine, a 6-speed gearbox, and slick racing tyres.
You can just listen to her.
Oh, and it can reach speeds of up to 300 kilometers an hour. But the interesting part is here. A2RL cars won't have drivers. They will be completely autonomous.
And there's like a whole bunch of things onto them.
As you know, Super Formulas are the second fastest car after Formula 1. Altogether, the car drives itself. Each lap generates like tens of gigabytes of data from all the sensor rails.
The A2RL car has many sensors. The GPS system is used to self-localize the car. It's a dual antenna GPS, one antenna on the nose, the second above the virtual reality camera pod near the roll hoop.
This is so interesting.
This allows the car to know where it is on the track to a very high precision, within tens of centimetres. Radar sensors send electromagnetic waves into the air. These bounce back from obstacles, and by counting the time the waves take to go to obstacles and come back, the car estimates the distance to obstacles around it.
Okay, and you can really hear them. That's because they're not electric. Can you hear that?
LiDAR sends out an array of laser light and also counts the time for it to bounce back.
Ooh.
That allows the car to make a dynamic 3D picture of obstacles,
both
so moving
cool.
and fixed,
This
at a
happening
very
right
high
now.
frequency.
This is not the
so
future,
the car generates
people.
pictures of its surroundings hundreds of times per second.
Cameras.
Each car has 7 cameras, 6 at the front, 1 at the back.
Oh, just one at the back.
The car needs this many for a system called camera lock, which the teams can develop so the car can detect whenever it is passing or being passed, and tracks the car from camera to camera. Inside the car, there is a computer, which is the brain of the car. It takes in all of the sensor information, uses its high-end GPU to understand its situation, and decides what the car will do next. Each team will get an empty computer to write their code, and that is the ground where they will compete.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That is
This
how
is coder. This is coder penis battle. This is exactly what this is.
Cutting-edge technologies such as artificial intelligence, innovative.
Plus, if you're wondering where this like mega computer is, it's at the place of the driver. Like literally, they didn't put it like in the trunk or on the bottom. Like all of this computer lidars, all of that. It's really where you would be sitting if you were some Jacques Villeneuve type of person. Okay, it's not starting yet. We're going back to the blonde woman who's there.
Under the lights at Yas Marina. And with that explainer, I know that might have been a lot to take in. So why don't we get down to the pits to see a live car with our very own Alex Brundle.
Okay, so we're going to the pit.
Yeah, let's have a look at the hardware, shall we? The Super Formula SF23,
so cool.
660 kilos of carbon fiber and biocarbon, single-seater pushrod suspension, both front and rear, connect Yokohama tyres to the road. It's a very, very difficult car for these teams with their AI control to try to maximize the temperature management of both the carbon fiber brakes and the Yokohama
actually, you're totally right about that, Hack of all trades. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in. This is Piper Blush and or just Piper on this channel. I get confused. And the thing is, well, we are assisting to the very first autonomous car race in Abu Dhabi. So it's all like playing behind me and in your ears probably. So we're kind of just like going over this together. I have no idea. I've never been to one of those. There's a whole bunch of people on their actual YouTube channel, the YouTube channel for Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League. We're doing this, well, separate from them. Again, this is not sponsored or anything like that. I just found that out this morning. And this is so much super cool information. So it's like a reaction podcast video to everything that's happening. Now there's a computer plugged into like one of these cars, so let's go and put this guy's voice back on.
Independently, and the sensor stack also connects to a mechanical steering process, an electronic motor which connects directly into this steering rack, allowing the front wheels to change direction. What we do know, though, alongside all of the changes to this car to make it AI compatible, is it's a beast of a machine, whether managed by an AI driver or a human one.
Thanks, Alex. And we know you're going to be a beast of a machine for us as well as the arms and legs on pit lane tonight. But Abu Dhabi is punctuating their support in autonomous technology, not only through this event.
That is totally true. So the thing is, like, so in Abu Dhabi, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening again towards this A2RL. So they're putting in like more money, and they really want to invest in everything related to these autonomous self-driving cars, which makes a lot of sense because it is kind of the future in that sense. And again, we're not just talking about EV because this is not an electric vehicle car, but it has all of these like self-driving capabilities, which we are seeing in, well, electric vehicles, and more we're going to be seeing them on the roads because, well, humans make errors, and all of these errors could be not done if it was an autonomous vehicle. If we had the help of like computers, AI, and all these things. And I know what you're saying. You're saying like, well, the guy who actually like programmed that they can make mistakes, of course, but if you have like a person behind the wheel or in the car with maybe a panic button or something like that, plus all of these sensors, lidars, radars, cameras, I mean, what are the chances? There are very, very diminished chances of you being in an accident or you actually like making an accident with somebody else. So that makes a lot of sense. Hack of all trades says that Tesla needs a race. Need a Tesla in this race. Well, actually, this is like fine point technology. I don't even know if Tesla would have some sort of a, how would they call, like concept cars that they could race with, because this is like well, they're saying it's F2, so it's not F1. It's like before. It's like they are as fast and as good as the cars just before F1, meaning that makes sense, right? Okay, so everybody who tuned in, thank you so much for being there. And well, make sure you share this live with anybody who is interested in self-driving cars or autonomous cars. I mean, this is really cool. There will be a race. Now, I think that's why it spans on so long. And right now, what we're seeing on the actual YouTube channel of Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League is more like a little bit of a sales pitch. And what exactly do we have here? They are showing like drone, quads, 4x4s, because again, the whole thing for them is to get into land, sea, and air. So they want to do autonomous driving with all of these things. Yes, drones or helicopters, I'm guessing at one point, because right now it's just drones. Well, you know that Amazon is like testing the drone thing for package delivery. Some actual people, there's a YouTuber that did that, was testing a drone. Well, so, no, went and visit, like a drone delivery blood factory, kind of, you know, to deliver, well, blood to people that need it in some hospitals and things like that. So it could really be something very interesting. Now, TubeTop123 said, not just errors, is eliminating road rage. That's a good point. Let's give you this. Road rage and FSD. Road rage and FSD. Let's write it down. Road rage and FSD. Meaning that, okay, so TubeTop, what you're saying is that I see it every day driving to work. It just ruins your day even before it begins. Definitely, definitely. We have Richard Heckley who's there. Hey, Richard. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Piper, and this podcast is called While You Wait, for the first ever autonomous race to begin, or just to plug your EV. I mean, you can wait for anything. Doesn't matter. As long as you're waiting, we're there to entertain. Now, on the actual channel of A2RL, the Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League, well, we are seeing it live. We're assisting to it live. This is kind of a reaction / me being there for the first time with you. So I was gonna watch it alone, but then, let's just watch it together. That's gonna be even better. What do you think about this? I mean, these cars are not electric vehicle, but they are self-driving. They're fully autonomous. They can make decisions, and they will make decisions. Of course, they're on a racetrack right now. That means that, well, they don't have to compute humans. Yeah, not yet. They don't have to choose. Not yet. Later, we're gonna need to for them to communicate with humans. I mean, to make sure that they don't hit humans and things like that. But we're not there yet. They just need to not hit themselves. So there's gonna be 4 cars driving on I think it's the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. It's gonna be cool. Okay, let's put some music.
Program to an autonomous drone racing competition.
That is from their channel. We are
together with the
live.
Drone Champions League, the World Championship of professional drone racing teams. We will elevate autonomous drone technology to the next level.
Yeah, they're all in.
In 2025,
This is
the
like
best
Red Bull,
teams in the field of autonomous drones
but crazier.
will compete in Abu Dhabi. A2RL, Aspire, DCL, where humans and machines unite.
Oh my God, this sounds like
Be there in 2025.
where humans and machine
our next
unite.
guest
We don't even know if that was a real voice. Maybe it was an AI voice. Yes, this is possible. It seems like it's windy in Abu Dhabi right now. I mean, we're seeing these people, and there's some wind there. There's some wind there. So the thing is, the race has not started yet. It's really dark because it's dark. We're seeing a whole bunch of AWS. That's like Amazon. Looks like Amazon is totally sponsoring this.
I mean, we've been here for a few days, seeing all the testing of the cars, still trying to find out where they've locked the drivers. Do you know what I mean? But like, this is autonomous. This is amazing. I'm just happy to be a part of this experience because this is a bigger crowd than I'm used to. You know what I mean? But this has been a fantastic.
You may be looking for those drivers for a little bit.
If you're not watching this, I mean, this guy's T-shirt has like houses reversed on it. Must be worth a lot of money.
That was between us. But listen, we're gonna have a fantastic time.
I
was down at the fan zone earlier. There's so much stuff to do down there. It was insane.
Well, I know you're going to head over to the support pits, and we'll see you down there. But now the world gets to know that you wanted to be on a go-kart. Let's check out the fan zone with Kojo.
The fan zone. So they have like a whole bunch of activities there. It's again, if you've assisted to one of these, like just Formula One racing in general, or even electric Formula One, they always have like a whole bunch of activities that you can participate in, or when you buy your tickets, because they want to entertain you. It's long, and there's like a lot of stuff happening. Sometimes practice runs, or just like testing. Some people during Formula One, they could, I think they could, I'm not sure if they paid or they won, but I think they paid. You could pay to go in one of these, like on the racetrack. You know, you could walk on the racetrack. So I have no idea if they did that, but these are things that really make it fun for people to build this community. And everything is autonomous. Again, autonomous. We're talking not just AI powered, and we're not talking just about these guys that actually like have AR glasses, VR glasses, and that are controlling from afar. We're talking programmers that program these cars so that they can be alone on the circuit without touching them, without nothing like that. So this is crazy. Thank you very much for everybody who's tuning in. I'm Piper, and you're listening to the podcast while you wait for the first ever autonomous race to begin in Abu Dhabi. I have no idea when it's going to begin. Like, no idea. But it's okay, we're here. I've got my coffee. If you don't know about this, right now this is morning. If it is any other time for you, well, this is amazing. Let's just have fun. There's even some RC cars that I'm seeing right now on the channel. RC car racing. Maybe they're autonomous. I mean, they had to start with smaller models for sure, because it's just so expensive to make it like a real race car. And that's the thing. Literally these cars are the same as in, well, F2. Let's say F2, maybe not F1. This is exactly it. It has everything you need in there, except for, well, a cockpit for the person to... No, Dave Frank, no. Let's not go there. So right now we're seeing women in, well, I guess in hijabs that are students. I don't know if they're part of the team or if they want to do that for a living later. Yeah, for Mercedes. That being said, well, a lot of companies are definitely gonna move towards that, towards the self-driving or autonomous vehicles. It's just better. That way you can there's so many implementations that we can get from this. So many things that would make a lot of sense for us as humans to have, instead of having taxi drivers or Uber drivers or any other type of drivers, doesn't really matter. Well, you would just kind of have a car that self-drives. So we could share the same car, because when do you really use your car? Everybody uses their car in that sense, but use it 24/7? Most people don't use their car 24/7. So as soon as you park it, it could go and take other people in, just like a robot taxi, a bit what Elon Musk is trying to implement with the newer Tesla that's coming out soon. I think it's in fall. I know in August, 8th of August, that'd be like the robot electric not electric, sorry, but one of these autonomous cars. Again, I'm pretty sure they're going to be electric soon. Maybe not these ones in Abu Dhabi right now, but they're gonna have to be electric because most countries are going like all the way into these electric laws, meaning that all cars being sold new cars being sold are going to need to be electric. So as much as autonomy is great and self-driving and for them to make judgment on their own, still, you're going to want that to be electric. There's no choice. Okay, so we have the blonde lady who's back and with another guy. Let's see what they're talking about.
What is the secret to Yas Marina?
Well, this is not a Mickey Mouse track. This is a Grand Prix circuit. I've been on the podium in Formula 2, GP2. But it's a track that's made up of 3 different sectors. It's really going to test these teams tonight. First sector, high speed. It's quite short, but it is really quick, and the margin for error is very small. The second sector is about your top speed. Lots of straight lines, some big stamps on the brakes, and it'll be a big test for those braking systems. But the third sector is the one that I'm really interested in, because that's where the walls are so close. They're going to have to use all their sensors, the GPS, the radar, and the LiDAR to detect where those walls are, because they're so close. And they're going to be going underneath the hotel as well. So there's going to be a couple of dropouts potentially there. And the walls are close. So it's really tricky track.
Well, not to give away what we're going to see in the show coming up, but we did an attack.
There's a possibility. So that was one guy who is on the circuit right now, because we're kind of, we are reacting live to the actual Abu Dhabi Autonomous Race League. And this guy was talking about the track and how interesting this track is according to having autonomous cars on it. Now, this is a real track, and Formula 2s have raced on it. So it's not like a new track. It's there, and it actually serves for Formula 2. But they're having this with autonomous cars. And he was kind of scared that, well, they said underneath the hotel, so I don't know, I haven't seen the whole track yet. But there's a chance for, I guess, collision, or there's a chance for like it to be a lot more squeezable. So these cars, they don't have drivers. They literally don't have drivers. There's not even a guy with like a headset that sees it and that can be like, no, that would be cheating. That'd be like taking steroids if you're doing the Olympics. I mean, you can't do that. They need to be programmed to be able to really make decisions while they're on the track on their own. So I'm pretty sure you can like fix them if something breaks, but you can't control them from a distance. That's not the point of that. The point of that is for them to be completely autonomous, completely self-driving, which is amazing. Walter Johnson says they drive fast on the track. Yes, they do, because they're Formula 2, so they drive like really, really fast. I mean, this is Formula racing. It's not bumper cars. No, that's not what it is. We have Trevor Turex who says bonjour, buenos dias, hello. Dave Frank asked what I ate for breakfast. Well, I had like really fast breakfast, so yeah, peanut butter and toast, but not toasted, as I like it when it sticks in my mouth for some reason. Now, Dean Collins says, I can't believe you found something so in your lane. Hack, are you talking to Hack of All Trades or to me, Dean? No idea. This channel is like Otis Gibbs for me. Cheers, everyone. I have no idea if that's a compliment or not. Well, I'll take it, because it's super early in the morning. It's beautiful here. I have the windows open. Well, that is wonderful, because in Abu Dhabi, it's kind of like nighttime right now. There's no sun. There's no sun. Here in Vancouver, British Columbia, at the time of this live broadcast, it is 8:21 a.m. Hack of All Trades says, this is really cool, Piper. Thanks for sharing and keeping us fans in the loop. Of course. Well, I mean, this is crazy. I was like, if I'm going to be watching this, why not do it all together? Now, for those of you who maybe have never experienced AR or VR, I have to say that the A2RL.io website will allow you to be in the driver's seat of this autonomous car if you want to go check it out. Now, I did try some VR, AR experiences, mostly VR, let's call it how it is, mostly VR experiences where the car was driving fast, or there's movement, but you're not literally moving, like yourself is not moving. You can get a bit seasick in that sense. It's not for everybody, but it's a cool experience. And I mean, when are you ever gonna be behind a Formula 1 or Formula 2 driver? And I think this is not the first time that F1 has implemented that. Now they have like cameras everywhere and you can really be on the driver's seat. So go try it if you do have the VR equipment to do it. If you don't, no worries. I mean, you're going to be able to follow the race through the actual YouTube channel of Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League. They're getting a lot of views right now. They have 8,800 people tuning in. A lot of comments in their comment sections going crazy, which I have on here. There's like Korean, Russian, English. I mean, it's like, I don't know what other language is on there. But it is a worldwide event. Well, because autonomous cars are something a bit of the future, but the future is now, you know? So you have all of this technology that is being presented to the world. And that's the thing. Most technologies, it's not that they don't want to show us or anything like that. It's just that it's being created, usually behind closed doors, because it's not ready for the public to see. But with a race like that, you have all of this technology that is finally becoming accessible to the public. Now, if you don't research for it, that's kind of your problem. But when I found this, I thought it was such a good idea to broadcast it in a reaction live podcast video, because, well, it's finally there. Just like when I went and saw the Formula Electric, you can now really see what people have been developing. And I mean, it's not because they're hiding things, don't go there, people, but it's just because you don't know until they make an event that is a bit more widely available, like posting it on YouTube, for example, and having it streamed live. It makes it even better for everybody there. So if you're anybody and you don't have necessarily the money to go and see these types of events, which usually cost a lot of money, well, it makes sense. Well, this guy's like dressed in an outfit. Let's go check it out.
Seems like the future is here in a way.
When you got the call up, were you expecting it to look like it does this weekend?
Honestly, when you're at day zero and you see how difficult things might look, you always keep believing, of course, but you never know if it's really gonna come to life, and maybe the expectations were quite low. But now, honestly, the car is doing a very good job. It's an autonomous car. There are a few teams racing against each other, a few engineering teams, and it's great to see what they are achieving. You know, the car really has no driver, and it's doing a very decent job.
And you're the benchmark for it in the first place, getting the data to try and give them a chance to get up to speed. They're getting a little bit closer?
Yeah, they are. Of course, you know, starting from, you know, hardly completing a lap in 10 minutes to then 5 minutes to now being around 10 to 15 seconds away, you know. Obviously, you know how it is. Then you closer you get to the limit, the more difficult it is also to understand, to get closer. But yeah, it's been impressive, the progress, you know, the progress in the end, the competition always.
What you're saying is really interesting, because the thing is, like you said, if you have like these Formula One écuries, so you have, let's say, Ferrari and now Red Bull and things like that. Yes, there's a huge team of engineers behind these cars, but there are also drivers. So you're going to need a driver to be there. So as much as the engineering team can be like on spot and all these mechanics can be on spot, well, you also have like a human component, meaning you have this driver that's there and that needs to drive the car. When we're talking about autonomous cars like these ones in the Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League, the driver is not a variable. It's not a component. There are no drivers. There's no drivers. So the real behind the scene team is literally the driver, which makes it so like you're kind of spreading all of this driving in a whole bunch of people. So there's not really a front man in that sense in these teams. There's the car, but it's really big teamwork. And that makes it very, very different, like very different than any other type of race. Let's go check it out. They're presenting the racetrack right now.
7 to the right, and of course, a mainstay on the Formula One calendar since 2009, designed by Herman Tilke and Danny Kvyat, who we just heard from there. Certainly no stranger to it. We can take Jolene a little closer look as to what we're expecting here. You talked about the differences in the sectors. We've seen some of these A2RL cars out on track already. If we're going to see some passes, it's going to be down that long back straight.
It is. It's going to be right about here, coming down turn 5, long straight down towards turn 6, about a kilometre long, and then there's another big run down towards turn 9, past the support pits where they're based. And then this final sector is going to be the one to trip them up. We've seen a couple of incidents through the weekend so far. It's not been plain sailing for everyone, but hopefully we're going to get a nice race later on.
Yeah, as you mentioned, in that final sector, it's technical, tight and twisty, and you do go under the hotel. There's a slight bridge that can affect the GPS systems on the cars, along with the LiDAR and the radar as well. But at the moment, we're going to see the baseline car head out onto this track, the TII car. That is the one that Danny Kvyat has been going up against over the course of the last few days. That car being run by the Technology Innovation Institute, a leading global advanced technology research center in Abu Dhabi, once again leading the way and very much putting out a call to arms as to autonomy and autonomous technology being the way forward. And this is that car out on track at the moment. You'll notice as well the different lights on the top of the roll hoop. Purple at the moment, that shows that AI is fully in control. If it starts to flash red or go full red, that means it is transitioning and AI has now lost control of the car and it is back under human control. But you can hear it.
So they can control and uncontrol them. Robot car crash, that's from Hack of All Trades. And Javier says, I bet they can hack into their system. Well, of course they can, but that would be cheating. They don't want to do that. So there's a car on the track right now, and they're saying that, well, when the lights are blue, it's really AI controlled, and then when the lights go red, it's because our human takes back control of it. Again, they're not in the car. The human is not in the car. It's like somewhere else. That's more like being in control of a drone. Yeah, sort of. Well, not a drone, but yeah, they would have like VR, kind of VR. It's VR, it's VR.
So there's been a team of people putting in the detail that the computer on board this car needs to learn and understand all the inputs, all the parameters that go into what normally would make a driver think when to brake, when to accelerate. There's a computer on board that, and that is just learning the way around based on a preset code from a team of very, very smart people in the garage, and now it's just running its thing.
And you mentioned the code. This is the car that has created the baseline code that has gone into the computer stacks that have been given to all 8 teams that will take part, or that have been taking part so far this weekend in Attack and Defend, which you'll see a little later on, along with qualifying in the race. The TIR car is out there at the moment.
So from what I can understand right now, there's this one car that's controlled by, like, of course, all this like autonomous system, but also a human. So they took all of this data from this one car and then gave it to all the teams, and then the teams could build their code with the same data. So they kind of started out with the same code, but then maybe implemented different things.
Because with every lap, with every corner, that AI car, Jody, is getting tens of gigabytes of data that's fed back to develop that code through all the different sensors that you can actually see on top of that roll hoop. There, the purple, then you've got the VR camera, 6 cameras on that car to help it around this track, along with GPS, the radar, and the LiDAR.
It's learning all the way, and that's got to be the case. It's got to be a case of continual learning and evolution. The benefit a driver has is that they can compute that immediately, the feel of grip, the feel of what to do when. And they can right now.
Dean Collin is saying, like, just blame the programmer. Yeah, okay, there's always that. It's either the engineer or the programmer. So the programmers, they blame the engineers they blame the programmers. I mean, this is funny, Dean, but it's true.
Just AI, but he backs the process, and we're going to see it.
And we know Fiat can certainly do a dive down the inside, whether there's a driver in the car or not, based off of his Formula One history.
It's a super expensive RC. I mean, super expensive because it can self-drive. So it's like if your RC, yeah, it's just not yet under children's Christmas tree. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. But it is like this car is going on the track and it's not crashing. Now they did add a few like little things that were really interesting. So they did say that under the bridge, some of the GPS can be a bit hard there because it's under the bridge. So I guess, I don't know, the connection and all that makes it a bit more difficult for the LiDARs and all these things to compute. So that's where it could be a bit of a tight spot. So it's going to be really interesting to see in the race.
Cylinder, turbocharged Honda engine in the back. Fiat getting up to speed now as he makes his way into the braking zone. Let's see how quickly he can catch up to the TII car and see if he can try and make an overtake.
And did you notice that he was weaving on the back straight out of turn 5, trying to generate some tyre temperature? Now it's cooler. These Yokohama tyres take a little bit of time to build up the temperature, and of course for the AI car they're learning this and they've got to judge it about right. It's a knife edge between pushing too hard too soon and just spinning, and just not being quick enough to build up the temperature as well. So our human driver is closing in with a bit of a weaving, getting those tyres working. We'll see how it's going to interact with an autonomous car.
TII car making its way underneath the hotel now, through the double left-hander of 13 and 14. We've seen a lot of our A2RL cars have a few issues coming through this part of the track, and there in the background, stalking the AI, is the human of Daniel Kvyat. He's going to close up to him. Where, though? Could he make the move round the final corner? He's had plenty of practice of this, and it's going to be catching up to him on the main straight. Kvyat with a little look to the inside, but he doesn't want to try anything too brave into turn 1 that closes up right through the corner.
Yeah, waiting now. Turn 2 and 3, left-hander, and then into the right. And then we'll get down towards turn 5. He's just waiting for his chance to come through.
So this
doesn't want to do anything silly, put a nose in where the AI is not expecting it. Is he going to have a look into turn 5?
Maybe hurt something.
Waiting again. Nah, he's waiting.
He decides to tuck in behind, just following that AI car. The car in front does not have a human driver in it. The car behind does, and now the driver makes his way through. That is Daniel Kvyat, takes that inside line, gets onto the dirty side of the track, and that is where we thought the move would come. Down the back straight, over 1.1 kilometer back straight, makes up the majority of this 5.28 kilometer
there. Well, I'm a reporter here. This suits me fine. I'm Piper, and you're listening to While You Wait, the podcast where we bring you EV news. And well, while you wait to charge your electric vehicle, or while you wait for the very first autonomous, actual autonomous race to start, you listen to all of this with me and with everybody in the live comment section. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share that. We are looking at the live broadcast that is on Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League's YouTube channel. This is a real race that's happening right now in Abu Dhabi. Now they're doing like some tests and some fun things because there's a lot going on. There's going to be a few little let's say how did you call that, like a few little challenges, but then there will be a race, and 4 autonomous cars are gonna race in that race. But right now it's a human against an AI.
Object around. They've got multiple sensors out there to determine where they are. The GPS, which is a dual antenna system, and that can self-localize the car. So when they're out there now, the autonomous car knows exactly where it is, and it can stay on the line.
Okay, I don't know if like the human is giving the AI chances, or if it really got beaten, but now the human's behind the other one. Yeah. So the AI is like further before. Trevor Turek says, while I wait and listen, I'm also watching. Yeah, you can definitely listen to this podcast because it's always recorded live and there is a video format. So it depends what you want. Plus, this one is really cool to look at because we do have the actual YouTube live video behind me of this whole race happening, the first ever autonomous car race. Yeah. And Dean is like complimenting a whole bunch on Hack of All Trades. You guys are really romancing in there. Thank you very much. This is great. Well, we love bromance. I mean, what's not to love about bromance? Just Brokeback Mountain, yeah.
Above the purple lighting indicating that AI is in control. So that's how the car knows where it is on the track. Kvyat once again makes his way through on that back straight. Then you have 4 radar sensors, 3 LiDAR sensors, and 7 cameras. You've got 6 at the front, 1 at the back, needed for that camera lock. So teams can develop the car and can detect whenever it's passing or being passed. So that's exactly
that makes sense.
what we're watching
So they all start with the same data from right now. So tire pressure and all that. That would make sense. That would make sense. Plus from the AI car racing the actual real driver, well, it makes a bit of a more realistic scenario since they're going to be racing against each other and there's going to be 4 autonomous cars on the track. So right now to have only 2, this has happened before, they said. So 2 autonomous vehicles together is a thing, but 4 is going to add a lot of like craziness to this. If you're wondering, well, I'm Piper and this podcast is called While You Wait. We are actually broadcasting the A2RL, Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League, live broadcast on YouTube, and we're learning a lot about autonomous vehicles right now. This is like super fun.
Drives involving vehicles, but this is the first time we'll see later today multiple cars with no driver inside, powered purely by autonomous technology on the track at the same time. That is a first, as Fiat dives into the pit lane. The TII car continues to go around again, gathering more and more data. And as Jody alluded to, this is looking to the future and how we can apply it to what we do in our everyday lives, whether that's through safety.
And those are not electric vehicles, just so you know. That's why you can hear them.
Inside vehicles, or even efficiency, optimizing road routes, self-driving.
That's not electric. Electric, you only hear the tires and you don't hear anything else. So these, as much as they are fully autonomous cars, they're still powered by fuel. I'm not saying it's gonna not change. I have no idea why they're powered by fuel. I mean, most F1 cars and F2 cars do have some type of electric generator in them to make them go faster. I mean, this is a thing. So we're not gonna say that a Formula 1 is an hybrid, because that's kind of true, not true, but there is usually a type of electric motor in there to help them go a lot faster. So the electric motor is not there to save the planet. It's there only for performance and like to really get it going faster, because you get like all of this electric motors instant torque that is right there available, meaning that all of these cars usually have that. And I'm sure one of the engineers or mechanics in the live comment section can definitely explain more about this. So if you are one of these people, make sure that you go in the live comment section and that you share your insights on this, because I've learned this by watching one of Marcus Brownlee's videos about hybrid cars. And it was quite fascinating. I had no idea that there was an electric motor and all of these really high-performing, cars or vehicles. Yeah, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because instant torque is definitely something you want on, those types of cars compared to, like, I don't know, your family minivan. Let's go see what's happening. So this... well, I know you would want that, but I mean, I don't think you can maybe afford that on the minivan. Sorry about that.
And the whole team is like super excited and also super freaking out, because we have 20,000 people. So if you fail with 20,000 people. But thanks to the work of everybody.
He's saying there's 20,000 people like on site.
I will never get over the fact that a driverless race car just went past
there's their application, so they have a mobile app that you can download and watch the race from there and everything that's happening throughout the evening. Again, this is from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Abu Dhabi time. Right now it is 8:40 a.m. in Vancouver, British Columbia, where I am broadcasting live.
Thank you.
It certainly is, Amanda. Thank you for
Okay, so they are switching things. You need to know that there's going to be 4 cars competing. Now, there's some sponsors, there's some things like that. It's a bit like regular sort of Formula 1, but there is a cash prize of $2.25 million USD for the winner. So I think like that's a pretty good cash prize. I mean, Formula 1 and all these things. If the car doesn't crash, if it crashes, well, oh my God, the expenses on that must be a lot more crazy than that. We also have to state that these are AI-powered cars. What does it mean? They have LiDAR, they have radar, they have camera, they have sensors, they have GPS, they have everything they need to be able to be fully autonomous. There are no drivers in them. There's no human people controlling them from afar. It's not like a drone or anything like that. It's really making decisions on its own. Of course, it has been programmed by a whole team, I'm pretty sure, of programmers to be able to make these decisions in real time. But again, there's nobody pushing pushing a button there. It's really the car is doing everything on its own. We have AKA Fumbler, who just actually tuned in. Thank you for being there. Nice to see you so early. Yeah, well, the whole point of this is that I woke up this morning, saw that in 70 minutes there was the first ever Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League. So this first ever autonomous race, car race. And I was like, well, we need to talk about this because the channel is all about technology, electric vehicle, of course, but mostly like the technology related to that, either being the battery or yes, the self-driving system and where we're going with all of that, which is really, really interesting. So that is why I'm here at a, well, not my usual time, which is usually 12 p.m. from 1:30 p.m. British Columbia time. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to see more of that, well, you can stay with me, of course, but there is the actual live broadcast Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League that has been broadcasted on YouTube right now. I don't know if you have Abu Dhabi TV, so maybe you just better stay here right now. And well, they're doing some sort of so there's this like autonomous car that is on the track. It was competing with another car that had a new human in it, a really legit human in it, and they're just going at it.
Getting to the apex, little kiss of the apex curves, out
which
wide.
I'm
That's
sure maybe
nice
have some real experience, not like me. So but hey, you know what? I'm a girl. I like this. Whatever. I'm a YouTuber. But the thing is, it's really interesting to like drop them in. So if you hear me lowering or highering the volume, it's because we want to see where they're at.
Powered by the Technology Innovation Institute, then going up against that man there, Daniel Fiat. Little wave to the camera, who is no slouch either, a Formula 1 driver, a former F1 driver, of course, a champion in GP3, racing in NASCAR this year as well.
He's racing against the autonomous vehicle. That's what they're doing. Now he's doing a pit stop. It seems like he's refueling.
Multiple cars at the top line of this sport. So to have him as a benchmark from the very beginning to improve these AI cars,
which makes a lot of sense,
is phenomenal. With every lap that goes round, they gain more and more data to put in to the code. They have the corner brake actuators that are basically the legs of the car, the steering actuators.
So what they're doing right now is they're making this autonomous car actually drive on the track, like go for it. They're collecting all of this data, and then they're making that other guy, this ex-Formula 1 driver, will drive the track against the AI car so it can accumulate even more data, and then they will be sharing all of this data with all of the teams, so the 4 teams, before they start the race. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because all the data they accumulated beforehand was very different, maybe because the weather, so the tire, the tires and the actual weather is really important in F1 racing. So the conditions of the track and all of these things. So this is accumulating all the data so that everybody can actually have the same amount of data before they start. So I guess those coders are really high on I don't know what, and they're implementing code as they're going.
Well, you can answer that question, and I can throw down to Amanda, who's with Danny.
Well, he was given a wave to us earlier, and now he's agreed to have a little conversation before he heads out back on track. And Danny, man, we were watching that all on pins and needles down here, but you were on track with the AI race car. What was that experience like?
Yeah, we are seeing some history here today, which is great to be part of it. And it was hard to imagine not long ago that this could happen, artificial intelligence cars.
The guy is literally going against
now
an
they
AI.
are there doing a very good job.
It's like the chess champion going
very
against
good
the
development
computer.
for the future and very interesting
It's the same
for all
thing.
the engineers and technology people involved in it. It's great.
One of the themes of this weekend is going beyond. How true is that statement?
Sorry?
How true is the statement of going beyond here tonight?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, we are giving our best, and it's
this is crazy.
Great.
This guy is literally going against no driver. Like he's going against another vehicle, a car, that has no driver in it. I mean, that must be quite a different experience for a F1 driver. Usually, there's people in these cars. So you have like this competitivity, which is against maybe like McLaren or against like the other guy that you went to school with at the driving school, whatever. So you have like this human interaction, but right now this guy is really going against a computer. Okay. It's a team of programmers, engineers, and all that. But you're really seeing like technology versus a human. Of course, his car has been made by engineers and mechanics and all these other people. So of course his car is like crazy, but think of it that way. This guy is like the first guy to go against an AI car. But yeah, when he says he's making history, it's totally true. You don't know. You don't know how they're gonna react. You don't even know. Like, it's gonna be interesting to see or to hear what he thinks. Like, does it really drive like a human, or is it very different? Like, to be behind that car, and are you kind of not scared of it? I mean, there's no life in jeopardy there because there's no human, so you're not scared of like hurting somebody else except for yourself. And quite frankly, I mean, F1 drivers are still they're pretty crazy people. I mean, they go 400 miles per hour? Like, this is crazy. Or Dave Frank is saying 200 kilometers per hour. I have no idea how fast an electric vehicle would go, or how fast Formula 1 cars go. But please do share if you know how fast a F1 goes per hour. Because the whole thing about going on the track, which I've been on the track, not a Formula 1 one, more like a race car track, so more like cars, like a Ford Mustang GT that I drove, and it was really intense. So what you need to do is actually brake, turn, accelerate, brake, turn, accelerate. Now, it's not really, and you brake really rapidly, so it's really counterintuitive when you learn to drive as a normal person, just driving, your car on the street. You have all of these, these stop signs, these lights, these people crossing, this balloon, and then the kid behind it. And so it's a very different type of driving. When you're on a track, it's not like that at all. Like, all the curves, there's no stop sign. You just go. So it makes it a very, very different experience. If you've never been on a track, I don't have a coupon code for that yet, but you should definitely try that experience. If you don't feel like driving on the track, there's some pilots who will drive you. So you just pay to be sitting in the passenger seat in one of these cars, and they will take you there, and it's kind of intense. I mean, I didn't know driving could feel like that just because I had never experienced it. But I get where the adrenaline rush comes from driving on a racetrack. So the human is going against the AI.
He's just popped back into the pits for a quick chat with us. And now he is making his way back onto the circuit again. The times are closer than you think, but we're not looking to showcase an AI car being outright better and faster at this stage. We are looking to progress the technology to see how close this technology that is packed into that car can get to a human in the same level of machinery.
And it's really not bad when you see the car coming through. No driver, no helmet to look at, just the cover there of the computer and the data stack that is controlling this underneath there. And it is the computer is where all of the code, which is broken down into different elements, is all stored on a computer underneath the hood where the cockpit is. You'd think it would get really hot as well.
This is really interesting. So instead of having the driver, that's where like the brain is. So the computer, the radar, the sensors, like most things, the cameras are where the driver would literally be in the AI car.
And it does a good job lap after lap.
And also, we're under the lights right now. The temperature has cooled compared to the daytime, where these cars do also run on track temperature at the moment around 32 degrees, air temperature 29 degrees Celsius out there. Tyre temp in the evening here in Abu Dhabi has been a real issue for the AI cars. You can see Fiat getting temperature into those tyres by weaving down towards that left-hander of turn 9.
So they've been saying that a little bit, a few times, They need to really get these tires warm. Now, it's the same thing for Formula 1. You need to have a good tire, I don't know, heat or tires. Yeah, there's a special temperature so that the tires will kind of stick, I guess, to, it's not only about like the pressure and about the speed, it's also about these tires. So if you know more about tires in Formula 1, make sure you drop a comment. I'm Piper, and this is the podcast called While You Wait. While you wait for the first ever electric No, not electric. I'm all mixed up. It's the morning, people. While you wait for the first autonomous vehicle race to begin, well, I'm here entertaining you on the podcast that's called While You Wait. So while you wait for your EV to charge, or while you wait for the first ever autonomous vehicle race, well, I'm here and you're there too. Dean Collins says, what was that famous IBM chess computer that played Kasparov? Deep Blue. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I don't remember if it was Deep Blue. It was Deep Blue. So I'm getting a yes. It was Deep Blue, meaning that, well, this is super cool. Like, this is what we're seeing right now. It's the human versus the computer in the chess game, but it's the human in like on the racetrack against the AI. What the commentators just said there. Those are the commentators that are from Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League, and they're broadcasting this live on their YouTube channel, and we're just kind of reacting to it on our channel. Now, they're saying that the point is not for the human to beat the AI or for the AI to beat the human right now. It's mostly only about collecting data so that they can race later. And later, yes, there will be a race. It's going to be 4 autonomous cars racing against each other without any human component in them. This is going to be really interesting. Now, Dean Collins says even shadows can alter traction because the contact patch interact directly with the track temperature. That makes a lot of sense. So meaning that in AI can't write poetry, though. Well, that is to be said. I mean, we've seen AI write poetry. We've seen AI write poetry. You got that from Copilot. So thank you, Dave Frank. Dave Frank got something from Copilot. He says the onboard computer, often referred to as the HPCU, processes data from sensors, executes algorithms, and manages vehicle controls. It plays a crucial role in real-time decision-making during the race. Quite interesting. So all that being taken into account, I mean, yes, these cars, these vehicles, these F2 vehicles are being self-driven, like alone. They're making decisions on their own. There's nobody behind the wheel. They are getting this data, they're getting programmed and all that, but as soon as the race starts, I'm pretty sure there's like, it's off, like hands off. You need to let the car do whatever it's gonna do. And that's why we're seeing this autonomous car, this self-driving car, go on the track to collect all this data to give to the programmers and the coders behind, well, every one of these 4 teams. They were saying that because they did some tests in the daytime, well, that's a completely different temperature, so that makes a big difference in, well, the data collected by the car. That's why they're doing this again nighttime, because the race will happen later tonight, Abu Dhabi time, so it is, well, only 8:54 a.m. here in Vancouver, British Columbia, but in Abu Dhabi it must be closer to actually 6 p.m. right now. That being said, well, we are seeing all of this live, so thank you for tuning in. I'm Piper. This is the podcast While You Wait to Charge Your Electric Vehicle. We bring you amazing entertainment and information about electric vehicles and anything related to the technologies that are coming up for vehicles in general. Yeah, so let's tune back in and see what's going on.
Entertainment package that is kicking off right here with these cars on track. This is the first time we've seen these AI cars out on track. We will also be getting a glimpse of how attack and defend has gone as well. One of the parts of the format for our 8 teams that are involved in this first ever Abu Dhabi.
8 teams, so not 4 teams, sorry, 8 teams.
Very, very shortly, along with qualifying for all 8 teams, the top 4 making their way through to the grand finale.
That's why. So there's 8 teams, but then they're going to qualify, and the top 4 are going to do the race.
Where we will see, for the first time ever in history, 4 autonomous cars on track at the same time racing. That has never been done before. And this, just the very start, with the autonomous car out on track, along with Danny Fiat.
Yeah, okay, so Danny Fiat's the real human driving
around the final corner for the TII car, across the line again.
That's the guy.
Fiat,
if you don't know
not
who he
catching up
is,
too
they
quickly,
say that he is a retired F1 driver, so you might have heard his name before.
Okay, at the moment.
So Fiat's last lap was a 1:46, so getting a little bit closer. That's this kind of average time that he's been doing, really, Fiat.
Yeah.
If we looked for the
Like
outright
Fiat.
Formula 1,
I don't know if he's
Formula 1
related.
cars are inherently quicker than Super Formula cars anyway.
Drop a comment if
That's
you
around
think
a
that guy's related to Fiat, for real.
1:26.1, which Max Verstappen
Roughly
holds
a
the record for that.
1:26.1.
Roughly a 1:26.103, just off the top of my head. 1:46 at the moment for Fiat. It's around about what he's doing. The TII car, on average, been around 10 seconds or so slower.
If they wanted to try and get as quick as possible, I have not got a time on it, so I can't tell exactly what it's doing right now, but it certainly doesn't look millions of miles away. Fiat's back in the pits once again, so leaves just the autonomous car.
That's the thing. That's the thing. For some reason, the human guy keeps on going in the pit, but the AI car has just been, you know, driving without going back to the pit. I have no idea. Like, how do they tank that thing?
As a racing driver, anytime you jump in, you're working, you're pushing. That's the fun of driving.
It certainly is. Right, let's head back down to Amanda.
Gentlemen, I teased that stat earlier.
The AI car gets data from other cars.
Yeah, but how are they fueling the AI car? So far, we haven't seen the AI car go in the pit.
Because they didn't make enough lap.
They didn't make enough lap.
He was not refueling.
Okay.
But he was not refueling.
So he's not really refueling in that sense. That would make more sense, because if not, why would he be going there all the time? But they're refueling him, but that's just maybe because, you know, he's there. So why not refuel him while he's there? Okay, so actually Dave Frank is saying generate an impressive 550 horsepower. Are we talking about F1 cars right now, Dave? The engine is paired with a 6-speed gearbox, and under the right condition, it can propel the car to speeds up to 185 miles per hour. I guess we are. This really thing, the really cool thing about horsepower and torque, I learned that yesterday, is very interesting. So how horsepower and torque are different. So torque would be only like this kind of power, and then horsepower would be like the power, yes, but within something else. So yeah, with time, horsepower would be with time. So the thing is, a race car would have a lot of horsepower but not a lot of torque, so it can't really pull a lot. But then when you think about like a one of these big vans or semis, that will have a lot less horsepower but a lot more torque, which is really interesting. And you can like calculate like the torque in Newton meter, which is really, it's really a lot of crazy like information on engineering and physics, which I feel is quite fascinating. So I'm learning all of that, of course, for the channel and for the podcast while you wait, because again, we aim to entertain and inform. Plus, well, this is a sphere of data that I don't know. So learning all of this is very, very interesting. Now, A2RL relies on petrol motors. Yes, they do. It's not an actual EV. So we've got like 3 people there.
Human driver and an autonomous car is absolutely amazing.
Rodrigo, you're standing here watching, transfixed by this alongside us. How do you think your machine would be doing out there against the XF1 star?
Okay, so
of
that's
course,
cool.
We hope that we are doing the best to push the car to the limit and to get the best possible lap ever in. Of course, it's a big challenge because this is the very first time we are putting cars on 4 cars on track, autonomous cars, that will race once against each other.
You know what, I've been here for the last couple of days and I've seen how much effort you put in. But it's race day. How are you and your team feeling?
I mean, we are feeling really excited. We have been working on that car for 2 months now, so we are putting all our effort in that big show tonight, and we hope we are going to have the best race ever.
Talk to us about the conditions here, because it's a lot different from the conditions under which you qualified. We've seen teams having issues in the nighttime conditions. So what needs to change now to give a good performance against the other cars in the race?
Of course, the key point here is to have a good tire management, because now the track is cold. Usually we go out during at 12 o'clock when we do our practice. It's really hot. Usually now it's windy, it's really cold, so the best way to have a good lap in is to push the tire in temperature, and then you can start pushing, because now the track is cold. Usually we go out during
F1 is absolutely crazy, you know.
When we do our practice, it's really hot. Usually now it's windy, it's really cold, so the best way to have a good lap in is to put the tires into temperature, and then you can start pushing to obtain the best lap possible.
So it's
F1
windy
is
and it's
absolutely
nighttime.
crazy. You know,
meaning
we
that
know
they
how
have
much
like to change
personalities
all
drive
of that
sport.
other stuff going on.
And you mentioned the coding.
This is
What
crazy. So yes, I am watching right now A2RL, which is Abu Dhabi's Autonomous Racing League. Now they're broadcasting live because this is the first ever autonomous racing race ever in whole the history of the world. Now these are petroleum cars, but they have these amazing sensors on them. So they have sensors, lidars, radars, like everything seriously related to these cars is like the top of the technology that we have here now in the whole entire world. So that makes it the most interesting thing to watch right now if you do like technology and anything related to technology and like cars, electric vehicles and all that. I mean, you need to be there for that. This lasts about 6 hours, so they're still they're not even in the qualification run. There's going to be 8 teams trying to compete, to get into that four race cars in the end. And these 4 cars are going to go against each other in a first ever race. And again, no drivers, people, no driver, literally no driver behind the wheel. Only real autonomous self-driving cars. So that is like worse than the FSD on Tesla. This is like nobody. Okay, let's tune back in.
Can they do their attacking? Can they do their defending? The idea is that we're going to get some good side-by-side, and it happens straight away on the back straight.
Yeah, down that long 1.14 kilometer back straight. Team Tum from Germany on the inside, trying to make the move on the Polymove team, and then chaos into the braking zone, right into the back of the Polymove car, and that was both of them out of attack and defend.
Yeah, Tom expected Polymove to be braking a lot later than it did. The Italian team's car braking early, Tom moving across to take more of a racing line and just piled into the back of it. So head in hands time there, bit of coding gone wrong.
So a real shame for the coders and the engineers back in the garage, but that's what we're doing. We're pushing to the limits and straight out again on track. This time was Code 19, the American racing team, Maverick, and behind them, Constructor AI from Germany doing the attacking, making their way around. Slow and steady start, trying to analyze what is around them, but Constructor keen to get an overtake on the Code 19 racing car in front.
Yeah, it's been a little bit quicker so far, but can it make it through cleanly? We've already seen how difficult that can be, but on the back straight, there we go, up through the gears and makes a clean pass with plenty of space.
Nice move down the back straight for Constructor, the German team, looking to shape up what is possible with AI technology and shape the future, and across the line and a win for Team Constructor.
This is super cool. Now, Dylan Collins is saying that Montreal is the best city that I have lived in. Well, that's good for you. So far, I prefer Vancouver, but that's just me. That's totally just me. And everything that's been happening in the live comment section is really interesting. Dave Frank is like going all party. Now this is happening in Abu Dhabi right now. It's the very first autonomous race ever, and they're having this guy, real guy, compete against the AI self-driving car because they want to accumulate data before they actually go into the qualifications. Now there's going to be 8 teams going for the qualifications, which afterwards will be only 4 teams left, and these 4 teams will race against each other to win $2.25 million USD. If you're thinking that's a lot of money, I'm sure the cars cost a lot more to develop. So I think they're not even gonna make it in there in that sense. I wonder how much they charge for a sponsorship deal. Actually, I don't think it's okay. It might be a lot in the sense that they need the money to build the technology, but quite frankly, this is not getting a lot of traction. It's very niche. It's very new. It's the very first self-driving, again, autonomous driving race, meaning that there's not that many people there, unfortunately. So the Abu Dhabi channel, Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League channel, has 12,400 subscribers. There is 9,500 people watching this event live right now. Now, this event does span over the course of 6 hours, meaning it's going to be long. So I don't know if more people are actually going to tune in for the real like race, the actual 4-car against 4-car race. That makes a lot of sense that the people will be there for that. But I didn't even know about this. It's not like Formula One that has been around for like, I mean, years and years and years. And even Formula Electric has started to develop a little bit into something else, NASCAR, and all these races. I've been there for a lot, like, this is the first ever race. So again, as for sponsorship goes, I mean, they are getting that money to reinvest in technologies, but they're not getting really that visibility that a race like Monaco would give you if you had like Rolex right there. So just, I don't know, Lord Billy. I didn't see Rolex. So far, there's like a few, I guess, Abu Dhabi, maybe, I don't know, brands. There's Amazon that I seem to like spot there with AWG, but I didn't see a lot of. Aspire's a game, huh? So Aspire is a gaming company, and they're actually kind of behind the A2RL, so the actual autonomous like race, autonomous. It's pretty funny. We can raise money to put your name on one of the vehicles, Piper. Definitely. You can go support us on Patreon right here, right now. The Patreon page is called patreon.com/2girls1electric-car. Thank you so much for your support, which allows us to pay our electricity bill and make more podcasts like this one. Because we need internet to do that. That being said, okay, so the race is going to be later, so I think I'm going to fragment this podcast, meaning that we're going to try to go to like the real big thing. But it is Saturday for most of you out there. If you're listening to this later, well, not to worry. The thing is, you'll be able to watch all of this on the actual website or on, well, the actual YouTube channel of Abu Dhabi Autonomous Racing League. If you want me to comment on it, well, that's also going to happen. Don't worry. Are still going to be there. Hello, Max Power. Yes, this was an impromptu live because when I woke up this morning, I saw that this was happening, the first ever autonomous like race. And these are F2 type cars, meaning they're race cars, like real race cars made with carbon and have like the most advanced AI technology systems on them. They are gas powered or like, well, petroleum powered, we're going to say it like that. I don't know why though. I have no idea why that would be. Yeah, why are they not electric? That I don't know, quite frankly. Maybe it's an engineering thing. Maybe it just made more sense to have it like that for now, for the weight of the vehicle versus all this processing power. I have no idea, but I'm sure that that's probably going to be a thing of the future. Everything that A2RL wants to do is related to autonomous driving. So their whole concept is to have this very first autonomous race today, right now, at the time of this recording, but then they want to have a lot more races. So they're planning on having 2 races in 2025 and then 3 races in 2026. Also, they want to do autonomous drone racing, which should come like very, very soon. And then off-road buggies. I don't know what a off-road buggy is. I'm hoping it's not like soap car things from Red Bull, because that was crazy to watch. And they want to go on the sea too. So all of this is related to like controlling the air, the water, and well, the roads. So being like in these 3 environments, but as autonomous vehicles, not with actual humans behind it, which makes it very, very cool. Do you know why they're doing it? Well, what they're saying is that they're actually doing it to test, first of all of this technology in like real time, but they're also doing it so that people can, well, see all of this technology being used. Like Max Power, you did say that you see Waymo all the time in Arizona, which is Google's self-driving car, meaning that for you it's kind of part of your environment, but for most people, all of this autonomous driver and self-driving technology is like something out of this world. They have never experienced it, or they don't even like live near it, meaning that having a race like that will definitely educate people, or just maybe make them less fear this. So we will see these 4 cars competing against each other without any driver, with only code, and they're going to need to make their own decisions on the track. I mean, imagine that. There's no guy behind the wheel, none. It's just a computer, a huge computer. That being said, I mean, they are, I think, doing it for the education purposes, but also if you are a kid watching this right now, there's a big chance that because you saw this, you could go into these types of technologies for later. So it's kind of educational, but it's also advertisement for this type of technology, and probably they're gonna want to sell some of that technologies to other car companies. Or, well, Amazon is already sponsoring, so I don't know how many shares they own of some of that technology, because they do have electric vehicles and electric fleets, being with Rivian and all of that. So I think AI in general is something most big companies are investing in right now, because the implications in the future are very real. And not having people driving, or not having like a people force, makes it so that, well, companies can just rely on all of this AI technology. Well, of course, the world is changing, and we are gonna, well, see people lose their jobs, but maybe we'll get to that Star Trek era where people are going to go to school to just learn how to be good humans and find their passion and find their love. And then if they want to drive cars, well, they're going to be able to, but they're not going to need to, because cars are going to be self-driven. Taxis are going to be self-driven, and a whole bunch of these special things are just gonna happen on their own already. So you're gonna be really passionate about it, then you're gonna do it. A bit like, you know, the guys that still do press. Yeah. Like they press cards by hand with these huge pressing machine. It's very vintage. I mean, not even vintage, it's like 100 years old. But they still do it because some people want that physical card, not a QR code or nothing like that. And they do that because they love it. They really love it. Because you can't learn that at school. I mean, it doesn't exist anymore. We have computers. So if the world would go more to something like that, well, just create opportunities and possibilities for something else. Now, Settler Billy says it would make sense if gas is involved in vehicles because it's Middle East. Definitely agree with that. Definitely. But I don't know if they do have actually the Formula One. Ooh, the car just stopped right there. I don't know if they have the Formula One electric in, not maybe Abu Dhabi, but maybe somewhere else. So stay tuned for everything that is gonna happen in, well, the near future. If you're not here live, well, don't worry, this is a podcast version, and you can always find it in the podcast playlist called While You Wait, the podcast that aims to entertain and inform you while you wait for your electric car to actually charge, or for the first autonomous car race. I will be back later. Make sure that you follow the order for this. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll keep updated on this new AR, VR, sensor technology, all right? Yes. And we will be there live for the actual race. So make sure you tune back in, or make sure that you will follow the little breadcrumbs to the next podcast. I'm Piper, and enjoy the rest of whatever you're doing.